Hello, everyone. This is Jeff McKee, and I'm joined by Vijay Casaretti. Vijay, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Great to be here. Vijay Casaretti, co-founder, MangoBytes AI.
Great. And so we're here to talk about artificial intelligence in upstream oil and gas, and then specifically about the MangoBytes AI solution. So we're going to walk through some of this content with you. And so now, who is this for, this material? So we have a three-part series. Each segment are roughly 30 minutes long. And what we're doing is we're targeting oil and gas executives, so CEOs, COOs, presidents, a VP of operations, production engineering, CFOs, finance teams, CIOs, CTOs, the VP of HSE, et cetera. So those executives that are involved in the upstream oil and gas. And then what you'll walk away with from these three LinkedIn Live sessions that we're doing and that we're recording and we'll send out, 2 to 3 high impact ROI use cases for artificial intelligence and upstream oil and gas, how agentic AI can track compliance, reduce penalties, and looking at different paths to try these AI pilots. So that's what our goal is for you to walk away from. Now, when we talk about upstream reality in oil and gas, it's there's ongoing margin pressure, as we know, compliance risk, and data overload. So the margin pressure, the higher LOE, service costs, capital discipline tightening, compliance risk, it's very complex. Changing rules across multiple jurisdictions is what companies are facing. There's a good amount of data overload between the real-time SCADA data, different production systems, various ERP systems, regulatory filings, spreadsheets in different silos, and trying to bring all those together to run an upstream oil and gas company. And then, we know there's manual workflows. So highly paid teams are still doing a lot of spreadsheets and gymnastics, and some engineers get pulled off to meet certain compliance deadlines. So that's not the most efficient use of people's times. And so those are some of the areas that we recognize are happening in upstream oil and gas. And from an artificial intelligence perspective, what are some of those things that we could do to help address those and solve those? So the field proven ROI, so where where cash flow wins. So the production surveillance and optimization. So instead of relying on manual checks and noticing patterns on a chart, these agents watch the wells 24/7. They flag underperformance or anomalies, and then they recommend actions for that well once they flag these areas. And so that's where we've seen a 3% to a 10% production uplift by shrinking the downtime and catching these issues earlier. Next, when we talk about field and well profitability, most teams can't see in real time which wells are truly the ones that are destroying the value versus that are accretive. So the MangoBytes Pixie continuously recomputes the well profitability and surfaces, and then where to reinvest or where to pull back investments on specific wells. So in practice, operators were seeing a 5 to 15% profit lift by reallocating capital and operating expenses to the right wells. And so that is what we can do with some of this real-time information that we see from MangoBytes Pixie AI. The third area is this compliance and reporting. So instead of scrambling, before the deadlines, these agents can track obligations for you when the deadline is, with plenty of lead time, and integrate regulatory data, generate the key pieces of analysis that your team needs. And we're seeing a 50 to 80% reduction in penalties because of this compliance agent that we've implemented at these wells. And then the fourth area is forecasting and capital decisions. So when your CFO asks, the board, hey, what if oil goes from 60 to 50? What's that going to do to our profit profile? With these tools, you're able to quickly do what if analysis and simulations to provide that answer instead of waiting, days and days for a series of manual spreadsheets to get calculated. And so MangoBytes AI Pixie can run these scenarios across these fields, these wells, and create that net present value with far less manual effort than we see today. So those are some of the key ROI areas we've been seeing with these tools implemented. Now I'm going to turn it over to Vijay to go into a little bit more detail on the MangoBytes AI solution. Vijay?
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Today, I'll give you a high-level overview of MangoBytes AI and our super agent Pixie. As Jeff talked about in session two, we look at live agents in action. And in session three, we'll walk through the technical architecture. So if you think about MangoBytes AI, it's a complete AI suite built specifically for energy industry. It has four components, as we see: Pixie, AI agents, AI analytics, and AI Studio. Today, I'll focus on Pixie and our domain-specific agents. So when we talk about Pixie and MangoBytes AI, a lot of people ask, is it yet another chatbot? Pixie is not a chatbot. It's a super agent specifically built for the energy domain. And that means three things for us. First, Pixie has a team of specialized AI agents behind it. And what it means is it can call upon them, it collaborates with them automatically, so users can get the power of many AI agents through one interface. Second, Pixie has in context access across the entire MangoBytes AI suite, which includes all the different components that we see. And all of these components are built on Microsoft technologies and also integrated with open source models and non-Microsoft AI tools. And so all of this is designed for enterprise grade security, scalability, and performance. And third, Pixie can perceive context, reason intelligently, and clearly explain its set of assumptions and its plan of actions whenever we ask any question or assign a particular task. So, what that means is if you don't agree with the output, we can change the assumptions and re ask it. So, it handles complex tasks, connects with enterprise systems, not only your internal data, but also the external public data sources. And the result is that users can not only ask questions, they can reason with it, and also we can assign tasks and execute end to end workflows. So, we talked a lot about the specialized AI agents. So, let's look at what we mean by that in the next slide. The real power of MangoBytes AI lies in our domain specific AI agents that are built for energy. So, as we see here, the approach that we took is we built these agents based on the roles, the different processes within a company, and different verticals and sub verticals within the larger domains. So, what that means is whether it's a H10 form filling agent for a compliance specialist, or a workover planning agent for a production engineer, or if you look at specific processes, production, finance, or compliance, each agent is specialized and trained to handle that part of the process, that particular task that is important for that particular role. And what we learned as we interacted and worked with a variety of users is that people work very differently. Some want control at every step of the process, while others want automation at the process level. So, what we did is we built the architecture to support both. And the users can not only look at all the different agents, but also they can stitch the agents together and set controls the way that fits their workflow. And so with that, let's look at some of the real problems that Jeff talked about that Pixie is helping to solve. So if I take a step back and look at the real problems we're solving, when we acquired assets ourselves at the Mango Group level, we saw firsthand that the knowledge lived in two separate worlds: the digital world, with all the data that's in multiple systems and formats and spreadsheets and PDFs and all of that, and the paper world, where you've got boxes of files, handwritten notes, legacy data, and so on and so forth. The problem with that is that data was incomplete most of the time, and the boundaries between these functions were unclear, and people were spending most of their time on necessary but repetitive, busy work, and some of us call it as boring work, on things like the data entry, searching, reconciling, flipping between different systems and paper. So which meant that simple questions, were taking too long to answer, and deeper questions, good luck with it, right? Why did this happen, or what should we do next? Took even longer, and sometimes days, and probably weeks. And by the time we get all the answers, the data is already old. So with Pixie and our specialized agents, all of that scattered information, whether it's internal, external, digital, paper, is all now available through one system. And so users can ask any questions, assign tasks, run a workflow end to end, and what used to take days and weeks, and now can basically be accomplished in minutes. And one of the very important things is that all of these agents are available directly or through Pixie. And Pixie itself can be accessed anywhere the users already work. That is inside Microsoft Teams, as you can see on the screenshot here, or Copilot. So the adoption becomes a little bit easier. So we go to the users where they live and what kind of tools that they access. So in our next session, obviously we look at these agents live, and so you can exactly see how they handle the real workloads in real energy operations. So with that, Jeff, back to you.
Great. Thanks, Vijay. It's a good overview. And so, Vijay, as you said, in the second session, we'll go through much more detail on the AI agents and Pixie as the super agent. And then the third session will be the MangoBytes AI architecture, which is built on the Microsoft stack. So now another area when we think about implementing AI solutions for companies, I've got a certain framework that's called Pivot AI. So prioritize, initiate, validate, optimize, and transition. So this is a framework where we try and identify 2 to 3 high ROI use cases for the business. We initiate and look at the data sources, who are the ownerships, make sure that the KPIs are well defined, and what those success metrics are. Then we run a focus 4 to 6 week pilot. Now with the MangoBytes AI and Pixie solution, there are already 30 pre-built agents, and so those would be the ones we would suggest upstream oil and gas start with, the pre-built ones that have been tested by the production teams across over 1,500 wells. Now there is the ability, and we'll talk about it in the second session, to create new agents, but for these quick pilots, we're looking for that low-hanging fruit, as Vijay mentioned, some of the repetitive tasks that are taking up people's time, where we can speed that up with agents, and maybe even improve the quality and the performance. And then we go to optimize. So we tune the agents based upon feedback. So it's that continuous loop. Some of these agents might need to be modified for the specific company and the specific workflow. And then we transition. So for those pilots that are successful, we basically want to move this agent into production. And maybe not every pilot turns out to be successful, so those wouldn't transition, but we believe a high percent would transition full into production. So that's the Pivot AI framework overview. Now we're coming to the end of this session 1. As we mentioned, session 2, we're actually going to be doing it on December 10th, 3:30 Central, and this will be the MangoBytes Pixie AI agent. Then the third session, the MangoBytes AI architecture, we'll do on December 18th at 3 p.m. So now a couple ways that we can continue this conversation. I do have an AI ROI opportunity overview that can help identify the 2 to 3 use cases for your company. And then we've also got some of the MangoBytes AI security session that we could do for those people that want to understand, hey, how does it work as a software as a service in a single tenant? How does it work if I want to have my private instance inside my 4 walls? We'll touch on that in the third session, but that's another session that we can specifically schedule with your company if you're interested. So to contact more information, you can reach out to me. My email, jeff@jeffmckeeconsulting.com, and my website, jeffmckeeconsulting.com, which you can also schedule these calls through that website as well. Thank you all for listening. And for those that are in the US, I wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and have a good Thanksgiving. And hopefully we'll see you on December 10th and December 18th. And Vijay, thank you so much for your time and sharing the MangoBytes overview on the session number 1.
Thank you, Jeff. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
All right. Well, thank you all. Take care.